Musical Ambassadors of Peace is built from the natural connections which form in a musical world. If you end up singing or drumming or dancing with someone whom your tribe or politics taught you to hate, well, you'll probably have to just drop all that programming and let them into your life as a friend. And it's so easy to create musical projects to heal the wounds of war.
Inside this huge Palestinian refugee camp on the outskirts of Damascus, Syria, Cameron and Christina did what they always do, wander through town carrying the Arabic oud, a favorite stringed instrument, an honored request to pause and sing a song.
All the singers that perform impromptu on the streets have come to be regarded as stars. Here they are performing in Cairo, Egypt for tens of thousands.
They're just delighted that an American has taken the time to learn their music. They have never seen anybody like us.
When we were in Syria, and there were 3 million displaced Iraqis trying to scrape their livelihoods together, well, we could raise money to at least pay the musicians to teach their ancient music to their young ones. Easy. And no one ended up hating anybody. Yes, our core belief is that people who drum, sing, and dance together are less likely to go to war with each other. And not only do they not fight, they build lifelong loving connections and start caring for each other in all kinds of ways. Music is beyond the verbal realm, and it is truly magical. Christine Stevens has been one of our musical ambassadors for more than a dozen years. She sought Cameron Power's advice when invited to travel and work in northern Iraq with Save the Children. Cameron was the only advisor who told her not to fear, that she would be welcomed by wonderful people. That proved to be the case, and she later returned as our musical ambassador. She also put her heart and soul into our program in Southern California for Iraqi refugees. Abajo Gift Conrad is our newest musical ambassador. Born in Rwanda during the genocide, he was the only member of his family to survive an attack on his village. He was only 1.5 years old. His mother had hidden him in the vegetable garden just before being hacked to death with machetes, along with the other family members. Abajo was raised in a refugee camp and has determined to do what he can do to heal the wounds of war. So many tribes from all over Africa are involved. He approached Musical Ambassadors of Peace because he felt that our nonverbal healing methods would be the most effective. Dancing, singing, and drumming together heals the old wounds and establishes new trust between warring factions in ways that written treaties just don't achieve. Ari Honavar is our musical ambassador from Iran. Her story is long and complex. Fleeing from religious persecution and the Iran-Iraq War as a teenager, she has become a champion of women's rights as well as a beacon of support for ethnic minorities. Music and dance are her weapons of mass attraction. She worked for years to develop our programs for refugees in Southern California, and then turned her attention to helping the displaced persons and asylum seekers from Central America regain creative strengths after the long struggles involved in their flight from drug cartel-dominated war zones. Christina Sophia has performed as an American who loves the beauties of Egyptian, Syrian, Iraqi, and Lebanese music. She was invited to sing Egyptian music with Cameron for a crowd of 60,000 in the Cairo Stadium. Subsequent televised interviews enabled her to represent the peace-loving side of America in the same way she had done in Baghdad, Iraq. She is the veteran of hundreds of Singing in Baghdad shows, which she and Cameron have presented all across the USA, as well as in multiple foreign venues. Dilkos Ahmed, part of the Iraqi refugee community in El Cajon, California, is a Kurdish woman from northern Iraq. Fluent in English, Arabic, and Kurdish, she can be a maximally effective musical ambassador. Her recent projects have focused on healing the wounds of sex slavery and genocide in the Yazidi population. She was instrumental in founding our California program as well. She and Ari have an interesting relationship as they both spent their teen years on opposite sides of the Iran-Iraq War, with missiles from the other side landing in their hometowns. Dr. Craig Woodson traveled to northern Iraq as one of our musical ambassadors, along with Christine Stevens. His focus is on drumming with children who have survived in war zones and are generally housed in refugee camps. Rowan Storm is a self-defined musical ambassador to Iran. After spending years mastering Persian music with attention to details of singing and drumming, she traveled alone from one corner of Iran to the other, offering international healing energies as an American who, in awe of the beauties of that indigenous music, was doing what she could to soften the political and religious divides. Her association with musical ambassadors of peace go back to a time many years ago when she and Cameron were members of the same band. Cameron Powers has been learning music and languages in Peru, Greece, and the Arab world for the last 50 years. Back in the 60s and 70s, he ran Cameron's Terrible Tours to remote Incan villages in Peru, as well as in Michoacan, Mexico. As a trained linguist and skilled musician, he was able to easily and deeply enter the heart realms of those cultures. After living through years of conflict in Aleppo, Syria, our dear musician friend Ibrahim Sukar announced to the world that the musicians were never part of the fighting. Our chance to sow the seeds for world peace really do lie in the musical realm. So our musical ambassadors continue to focus on working with victims of violence in war zones. As we emerge from the damaging isolations which the pandemic has required, Musical Ambassadors of Peace stands ready to help polarized groups learn to trust one another again. We have powerful tools for accomplishing that. Meanwhile, teleconferencing technologies and musical ambassadors on location are helping us keep existing programs going. Please do help us out. Our donation buttons are easy to find. Go to our homepage at musicalambassadorsofpeace.org and find out more. Thank you.